How's it going, everybody? Savvier saying, what is good to all my Super Saiyan homies, here to bring you Dragon Ball Legends anime and manga content. If you enjoy the video and you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. Also, if you end up doing all that mishigas that I just said, leave a comment down below. Let me know that you did. I'll be sure to respond to you guys because I super duper say and appreciate all of you. So today, what I'm doing is I'm kind of messing around with Launch a little bit. I tried messing around with her in some of the higher ranks. Did not go well for me at all. Had to just kind of cleanse my palate and just stop for a day. It's also why I try not to record on the last day of the season. You get really bad connection. You just get all sorts of issues with there's way too many issues. So I tried again today, and I tried with something a little bit funky. Now, keep in mind, all the commentary is going to be post-commentary, because this was something that I knew that if I tried to do commentary on top of, I was not going to be able to play the game. I was not going to be able to make this team work. So we're going to do post-commentary today. And the team is 2 girls, 1 potato. I'm actually going to include one of the losses from the attempted female warrior showcase I had, just because it did really show off Launch as a last woman standing. But this team is actually a lot of fun. I have 1 match against a very, very solid team, and then the other 2 are just respectable free-to-play teams, both kind of banking on 1 really strong Zenkai for their team. But that's kind of how the meta is right now. If you can get 1 really strong meta, you can actually put up a really good fight. As this one dude, you'll see, he had a fusion team that I looked at and thought, okay, you know what, I should be able to beat this in 2 cards. And this dude put up quite a fight. But yeah, that's kind of that. The whole idea of this team is obviously, you have Kefla and Launch are both female warriors. And then what's kind of interesting is female warriors in Rival Universe actually have a lot of overlap to them. So on the bench here, I have Dispo, Ribrianne, and Kakunsa, because Kakunsa's doing double defense. You have Dispo doing double offense, and then Ribrianne, I figured she had the best Z ability for the team. If I had EX Rosie at higher stars, I think she probably would have been my other option, but I think just giving strike and then strike defense in a strike heavy meta is probably the best bet, so I don't necessarily mind having her here. The only issue I have with this team is that you'll see it in pretty much not actually, that's not true. I have 3 matches that I'm not going to include. Because you'll see that, this is why I don't like focusing on 3 units. People will color counter the shit out of you, and especially if you're doing one that's not a color wheel. It's one thing if you're doing a blue, yellow, purple, a team that can kind of work its way through on its own accord, I guess, for lack of a better term. Because, you have, the colors to defend itself, and even though you're disadvantaged to 3 colors, you have an advantage over 2. Something like this, if I have a disadvantage to the 3 colors I have a disadvantage to, I only have an advantage over 1 color. And while type advantage isn't everything, you're playing an uphill battle if you're having cards that don't protect each other, Kefla's protecting Launch, but that's about it. So yeah, enough about that. Let's hop right into it. Oh, I didn't talk about the sub count thing. That's the most important thing. The whole cool thing about this is if you look at Toppo, and this is kind of something I forgot about him, because you don't really get to do much with him, is that if you hit with his blue card, you can do a +3 on sub count. So then that locks in your enemies for 3 subs, and then, you can switch to Launch, and, do kind of you can kind of cycle this, in order to kind of keep your enemies at bay, and then just kind of keep switching back and forth between Toppo and Launch to, just kind of recycle vanishes. You can even also do, it's kind of nice because you can even also do with Kefla. You can get a nice combo in with Kefla, get a vanishing with her, and then flip in. This way you refresh the blast armor from a distance and everything. So it's really, really powerful just running the 3 of them together. Again, the only issue is that, they don't necessarily defend each other the best, and then with the bench, it just kind of makes it obvious what your choices are going to be. So yeah, that being said, we're going to hop right into it. I talked for a little too long on this one, but I felt it was kind of important to explain it. I'll talk a little bit more about it, I guess, throughout the post-commentary, though. Alright, so right off the bat, we're kind of going up against a fairly solid future team, I would argue. You know, it seems pretty free to play, but this LF Future Gohan, I would argue he's still very good at 3 stars. And then this guy at Zenkai 1, you know, he's pretty menacing. As well as the Goku Black, who pretty much at any stars is just, you know, Mr. Endless Combo. I mean, he's just a menace in this meta, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of him. So at this point, I'm kind of loaded up on blast cards, which is pretty unfortunate. The thing I didn't kind of consider with all this is you have the 2 of them up top. You have Launch and 21, who are both blast units, and then you have 21 or 18, who has these blast cards in her hand, and then, you know, the green card is supposed to switch it up. But at this point, you know, it's just kind of, it is what it is. So at this point, I'm a little overwhelmed with blast. Not too much I can do. At this point, I really only popped the main for healing. I figured I was probably going to have to drop the ult at some point. I try to go for taps there, but he does go for just straight in for the strike. Yeah, pretty much nothing to it. At this point, we're just playing pretty sloppy with 18. Now, at this point, I'm kind of considering, is it going to be worth it to go to Launch to try and save her, or should I stay here, hold on to the ult? What should I do? Now, here, I got a little trigger happy trying to press that blast card, especially because the blast card probably wasn't going to do much at that range. What the probably smarter move would have been to do was to either have gone for the ult, since ults do beat out blue cards, or to have, to gone for taps there just to have gotten rid of his blue card. So there were a couple of things that I could have done better there, but that's okay. Now, right there was probably the better place for me to use the green card, because I had forgotten that the green card was something that didn't work on the blue trunks, but I could have used it on the blast just there that the Goku Black had, and we wouldn't have had any issues. At this point, he's kind of running low because he's been comboing the hell out of me, but now he's been able to use that main, and that's going to launch my lock my green card, rather. So I'm not going to be able to do anything to kind of, you know, stop him in his tracks. So I'm able to get him in a clash here, and we just barely win that one by the hair on our chin balls, like just the ball hair on our chest, and we're just able to get into this ult, but realistically it's not going to be enough to even pop the first life. It's going to take him pretty far, but not too far, and then he's even going to get a blue card off, and that is just going to put us in a real bad position. Everything's locked, so I'm just going to kind of stand there with Launch for a second, see what we can do. He starts standing around a little bit, and we are going to be able to take out that first life somehow or another. It works out that we're able to get off another strike, and we're just going to hold out for a second. So I kind of try to get up in his face a little bit, see what I can do. I'm able to get out of the way. He gets a little cocky trying to go for the LF, and we are able to get off the first green card with Launch to help out with her Vanish, showing off her capabilities as a last woman standing. We're able to get this Vanish in on Gohan and take him out, and we do have a green card on deck to get us into a good position to fight with this blue Trunks right here. We have a rush, so things can be done. We're able to get a Vanish in on him, but the problem is I probably should have tried and caught him otherwise, because this does force us to waste the rush. There wasn't going to be enough damage, and there was no green card to get her Vanish back. She would have been susceptible to just dying. This was the only thing we could have done to have potentially put ourselves in a position to do anything at that point, considering there was no green card in hand, and she wasn't going to do the damage otherwise, and she didn't have a Vanish. So we do what we can here. He is able to get the Vanish off. We are just kind of delaying the inevitable, though, considering she is able to kind of sap his ki, but again, she just doesn't have the damage. She is going to be able to get that last green card off to get that last Vanish in and restore a little bit of ki and a little bit of health, but that's it. That's the only card she's going to be able to use, and like I said, she just doesn't have the damage to do it, especially against this Zenkai Behemoth, even though he's just Zenkai 1. So with that, our first match is going to be coming to a close. He does have to use a rush just to put in the ending work, and I think that says a lot about Launch as a character, how she was really able to hold out there at the end, especially with that reduced blast cost. She's really kind of able to hold her own and sort of drain out combos, so if you're really not up against a blue unit at the end, she could absolutely do it. For our second match, we're up against a fun little God Key team, and this was probably my favorite match of the video just to play. Right off from the beginning, I thought I went for the backdash, but I guess I accidentally went for a side swipe because I'm a dumb idiot head. But for whatever reason, he's able to drop the combo. I don't know why he was going from long range like that. And I start to fire off and empty the clip, and he gets out a great Vanish here. This is a really good job, because, you know, sometimes when people are just emptying the clip like that, they're trying to get a priority. Sometimes if you don't have another blast there, it's just best, instead of trying to fire off a clip, you just fire off a vanish, and then like him, you know, you're able to get a priority. So that was a really good move on his part. However, right here we're able to catch him because of this stop clock. He very easily could have taken advantage of that vanish just there, but instead he tries to go for a stop clock. However, it does work out in his favor as I do somehow drop the combo on the switch in, and then he's able to get me on a panic swipe, going in for this blue card, takes advantage and waits just a sliver of a second to hit me on my sidestep, gets some really, really good damage in on Kefla. But it is Kefla, so she's alright. Now he tries to bring in UI to change things up a little bit, but because I was going from long range, it doesn't end up working out as a cover change for him like that. So at this point, we're able to fire off Kefla's ult, and she's not even worried about UI at all because he is just a squishy wet noodle, and her ult is going to do a heck of a job with enough ki to fire off the blue card in the background and just make him go down like the squishy little ragdoll that he is. He does get in a nice tackle on me. Normally I don't fall for tackles like that, but he does get a nice one in and is able to take a very good advantage of his double vanish. Now he is at type disadvantage, but I was pretty scared that this ult was going to do the job, and by the sliver of a nut hair, Kefla survives. She's able to then heal a little bit back, and I had a green card on deck. Tried to bait him out for the single tap, but as per usual, my nervous hands were able to go for a double tap. However, it works out because we're able to close the distance. Toppo's able to get in, get a nice little vanish. Now here, my whole plan was I didn't want to take too long for Goku Black to come back in. All I wanted to do was fire off a Justice Potato and get the lock in. So that's exactly what we do. We knew it wasn't going to take him out. It gets him to a little bit below 50. He does fire off a green card to kind of nullify, you know, a little bit of all of that. Now here's where the fun comes in. I bring in Launch, she PVs, and my whole idea here is I'm going to have a little bit of fun with rushes because my whole thought process is that this blue Goku's got to go. He's the guy that I got to take out. Goku Black I can take care of. This guy, he's got to go. So that's exactly what we do. We fire off our rush here, and then we're going to do something really diabolical, which is really fun with Launch, and I actually have another video planned for her with this. She's able to steal his Dragon Balls, and anything he would have done ends up going away. So right there, he's not really able to do... I'm not really able to take advantage of the tackle because I had a blast card, but I am able to use my blast armor and that little engagement that we had with one another, fire off a blue card, get him pretty darn low, and at this point I just kind of throw out Toppo to kind of, you know, take his vanish away, and at this point if he kills Toppo, it's not the end of the world. I'm not too concerned about it. So that's exactly what we're going to let him do. We're going to kind of let him do what he's got to do. He's going to even fire off this blue card, which if I were him I would have saved it, but I'm sure that was probably the only way he could have gotten damage. However, at this point he has no vanish, and it was really just stalling the inevitable, and our girl Launch is able to get in the win. We get her first cute little win screen. Now, let me tell y'all, this guy was the sleeper of the century, and let's be real here. This just goes to show that if you have one strong Zenkai, you have a very good team. And I also would just like to stress that this is a great showing for his Kefla as well, because my Kefla put in some work, but she's still able to hold out with 50% just from her healing. Just goes to show you how obnoxious she can be. At this point, I don't know why he tried to time that out. Ends up wasting a blue card just there. And at that point, I end up going for a double vanish, but it doesn't end up doing anything for me. We just end up kind of doing a little dance there. You know, having a fun little time. So I go in for the switch to bring Kefla back in the hopes that she is going to, you know, be the one to take out his Kefla. But he does the, you know, same thing he did before. Brings in the red Gogeta. And now is where the fun starts to get in. Because I do hit him with this, and we are going to fire off the ult. This is going to fire at the yellow Super Vegito, which I think he thought he was going to be okay, but at 2 stars, ain't no way he's living this ult. Just no way whatsoever. Now, this is where the insanity starts, because I was just... I think at this point I had gotten a little cocky, and he just starts going off. So all my blast darts were locked at this point, so all I could do with that tackle was vanish. There was nothing I could do about it. He's able to fire off some good stuff. I pull in Launch, you know, figuring let me spread the damage around a little bit, you know, see what I can do. You know, nothing too bad here. We don't get the feint. Everything's alright. Gets the vanish off. I'm able to get in some taps. And at this point, I'm even able to steal some Dragon Balls, you know, to kind of work up some stuff. And once again, we're not really able to do anything with this tackle, just based on the fact that we don't have any cards that are disposable that are going to be able to get in that time. Since tackles take priority over blast, they get there first. You know, if you're reacting like that. So he's first able to do this. He's able to time off his ult like this. Very impressive. Good job. Fires off a very solid ult right there. I'm figuring to myself, okay, you know what? Not a big deal. It's just Toppo. Then times this blue card right here. Excellent. At this point, he's able to get his vanish back, and he's able to get a nice little backdash and time out this green card because he knows that I usually go for taps. At that point, I went for sidestep, thinking he was going to go for a strike to take care of my taps. He's able to switch in. I have to drop the ult with Toppo, and things just start getting a little spicy. I'm not necessarily sure where I'm supposed to go with this. He rushes, and it probably would have even been better for me to leave Toppo, but I figured he would have popped the first life anyway. And I wanted to keep him around to deal with the red Super Gogeta. Now, I had realized after I clicked the card that he was probably going to pick a blast, but I figured he was going to go... I tried to be big brain, thinking he was going to go strike, considering that Kefla does that thing where she changes all of the cards to strikes. However, the other big brain with that is going blast, since most people think that her hand is just full of strikes. So at this point, I get Toppo out of there, because I figure that he's going to be the ace in the hole. I see what Launch is going to be able to do. And it's not much because he's able to just get real patient on me and do what he's got to do to survive there. At this point, he tries to get me with another tackle, but I have fallen for this way too many times with him. We're able to take care of it just by punching him in the face. I try to go to a stop clock to see if I can get a perfect vanish. End up going for the tackle myself. Doesn't end up working out too well. But at this point, he drops the combo himself, and I am able to take advantage. And Toppo is able to just barely, by a sliver of a nut hair, pull through in a really, really impressive free-to-play showing. Lastly, we have another match against Future. And this is just another example of a good, Zenkai could go a long way. And even at that, it's the Legends Road Trunks. He's not the greatest Zenkai, but he's at 14 stars, Zenkai 6, doing a pretty good job. Right from the get-go, this dude is doing a great job because he's able to get Toppo below 50% with that, with that green card. We are able to time out a tackle really well, though, and just start putting in some work. Once again, we drop the combo on a switch-in. Not really sure what keeps happening there with me. I think I'm just not timing it right on the switch-in. I don't know, maybe someone can tell me, but it's alright. It's not a big deal. So here we're going to fire off the blue card. The hope was to try and take out the purple Vegeta, but it doesn't end up working out that way. The Trunks is able to switch in just in time. We're able to get in the Vanish, though, on this guy. And while he thought I was going to go for the... I was going to go for the ult there, and he was going to take that out. I actually end up going for the blast, so it ends up working out in our favor. However, he is able to get out of there with the Goku Black, even though he is now hit for a no switch. But because this is the king of endless combos, it doesn't really matter. The no switch isn't going to do anything at this point, because just that green card alone is just enough to just, make you want to vomit sometimes. So at this point, he's just doing, some absolute absurdity. Some great damage. It is what it is. Whatever. But, we're going to do our best. I'm going to fire off the main there to try and do my best to take away his ability to rush. And once we use the Vanish, I figured it was our best interest to use the green card because even though Toppo didn't have any sub counts on him, we just end up going for it so he can get the key, he can get the bonuses and everything. And it works out pretty well because he's doing some really, really good damage to Trunks here, as y'all can see. So we're going to punch this Vegeta in the face. Taps are going to be enough to take him out. And we are going to lose the 3 Dragon Balls, but it's not the worst thing in the world since we are up now by a character. So what's nice there about this switch-in is I figured I was going to be able to catch him on a sidestep if I got that switch-in going. And that's exactly what we do. We fire off the blue card, and that is enough to actually one-shot the Trunks and just put us in a really ridiculously strong position. Now here's where you see that he is the 3-star unit, and all that great damage he was doing before just goes out the window compared to an ult from my Kefla. And with that, we are going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little team. I'm not going to go too nuts with doing fun teams going forward, but they are going to be more post-commentary videos like this when I do them in the future. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like button. I'll see you in the next one. Whoop, it looped out.